Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for being here. Can everyone hear me okay? Give me like a thumbs up if you can hear me all right. Yeah? Okay, excellent. Fantastic. Okay, so like always, we're going to give everyone a couple minutes to join us. I know there's still a few people trickling in. It's awesome to see so many new people here tonight. Very, very cool. Welcome. I'm going to ask that everyone please do keep your microphones on mute until after the lecture, and then we're going to be able to have lots of questions back and forth, and that's the appropriate time to unmute your microphone. Until then, just please keep it muted, even just for ambient sound. It can be very distracting to everyone here in the class. Also, if you have questions and you don't want to, you're afraid like, oh, maybe I'll forget my question by the time we get to questions, just type it out, put it in the chat. And when we get there, I'll start looking through the chat, and I'll be able to answer your questions then, okay? All right, so looks like people are pretty much here. Let's see if anyone's having any trouble getting in. No, I think we're good. Okay, awesome. So, welcome. My name is Sanre. I am the head teacher here at the Order of Chaos Occult University. And tonight we're going to be talking about, really the system of magic that we use and teach here, which is called Chaos Witchcraft. This class is called Chaos Witchcraft in Theory and Praxis. So, everyone's here either because you're already a student or you're interested in what this is all about. So let's just start with that. What are we doing here? You're here because magic is real. The thing that we call magic, that we've associated with unseen phenomena for our entire lives, is extremely real, and everybody knows it, right? We are living in this very, very weird period of time, the only period of time in history when we have this sort of mass denial about the thing that everyone has always known since our very first civilization in Sumeria. And before that, too, with recent discoveries like Göbekli Tepe. Every society, every human society has been a magical society, except for this little tiny itty bitty slice of time that we're living in right now. So why is that? There's a couple of reasons. I don't want to get super conspiratorial here. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I will say that it has a tremendous amount to do with the powers that be not wanting you to know exactly how powerful you are, how much agency you have in the world, and they want a public that is dependent upon things being extremely difficult when they really don't need to be, right? Life does not need to be so difficult. That is why I do this. That's why I'm here. That's why this school exists. Because when I started doing magic, and especially when I added a spiritual element into my practice, my life got so much better. I went from being a person who was very unhappy and depressed and taking a lot of medications and just not emotionally or mentally well, to being a person that is not taking a bunch of medications, super happy. I love my life. I wake up every day excited to do what I do. And I want other people to have that same experience. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. Now, I want to make it clear right now when I say that I'm in no way saying don't take your medications. I still take my ADHD medication. This is not an anti-pharmacy rant we're going on here. I'm simply saying that we are a society where the vast amount of Americans are taking an antidepressant or an anxiety medication, and we don't have a rule book or a guidebook for regulating our nervous system that is applicable and easy and intuitive. And to a large degree, that's what magic is. Okay? Magic is a lot of things. That's one of them. Oh, got some more people joining us. Okay, very cool. Okay, so before anything, the Order of Chaos is a school. So you might know me as a YouTuber or from my podcast. And yes, I do those things, and it's great. But first and foremost, I am a teacher. I teach magic. I'm here for you, the individual. I want your life to get better. Okay, I'm not here for views. I'm not here for clicks. Those are just ways I try to get the message out, to bring people into the school so that we can work with you and make your life whatever it is you want it to be. And when I say whatever it is you want it to be, I mean that. I really, really, really mean that. I never thought that my life could be exactly what it is right now. Never in a million years. I have, through magic, manifested every single thing that I've ever wanted in my life. I have the partner of my dreams. I have the job of my dreams. I have a wonderful relationship with my son. We live in a wonderful place, and life is excellent. And that's what I want for everybody. I want you to be able to wake up every day and say, oh my God, my life is so good. It's so excellent. And that's what you can achieve through magic. That's the whole point. Okay. It's not about looking cool. It's not about just, having a community. Those things are fun. It's not just about having an alternative kind of spirituality. Again, great. These things are great. But magic, in my opinion, is about making real of changes in your life for the better so that your life improves, right? It's not just an aesthetic choice. It's something we do actively to vastly improve our circumstances. So a couple of things I want to share about the Order of Chaos and our mission statement. What we do here, what we stand for is the advancement and the preservation of the occult sciences. Number one. Number two, the pursuit of hidden knowledge through direct experience, right? It's not enough just to read books. I've read all the books. I read all the books on magic that I could ever get my hands on, and it does you no good if you're not doing these things. If you're not actively participating in using magic in your everyday life, then you're just reading, and you may as well read fiction. Okay? It's very important to understand that. And then finally, we are a safe and inclusive environment for all spiritual seekers, all occult researchers, everybody who's interested in the hidden aspects of reality. You are welcome and safe here. I do not care if you are a Christian witch, if you are Wiccan, if you are a devotee to Santa Muerte. It doesn't matter. You're welcome here. We're not here to tell you what to believe. We're not a cult, and we're not a coven. This is a safe space for everybody who's interested in spiritual or magical pursuits of any kind. Right? We have some very, very simple rules. Those rules are treat everyone with kindness, dignity, and respect. As long as you can do that, we're pretty good. Okay? So a couple other very basic rules to our community, but we're not here to tell you how to behave or what to believe or that you're wrong about this, that, or the other thing. That's just not what we do. All right? So I want to say also that we are in a time when... And I don't like to get political. It's one of the things I've avoided for the last 6 years that I've been doing this full time. But we're living in a time when the White House has recently issued a statement saying that any anti-Christian views would be lumped in with extreme violence and terrorism. There is a very real effort to shut down and demonize and persecute witches in the world today, like never before, or well, one time before. And it's something that's really going to affect us. And so what we need to do is to build spaces and build communities where people are safe to practice their magic, their beliefs, their faith, whatever it is, where they're supported by others and where they feel safe to do so. So that's part of our mission statement here. We're going to get throttled in terms of the internet. Everybody knows that there's not a whole lot we can do about that. But your support is very, very important to us. So in that spirit, if you would like to continue taking classes here, if you have fun tonight, if you have a good time and this is something you're interested in, please join the Order of Chaos Occult University. It's $35 a month. You can take as many live classes as you want. We are always offering live classes and during different time zones on different topics. We have over 100 videos in our occult library right now of videos you can just go watch at your own pace to learn. There's always something going on. We do a free live lecture every Sunday night. We have a guided meditation Monday through Friday every morning. And your support goes a long way towards getting us bigger, and I want to do things like bring in more extraordinary guest teachers, offer more classes, and just grow this movement as much as we possibly can. Also, you can also save $120, I think it is, for a year if you want to buy an annual pass. And if you buy an annual pass, you will also get a free 1-hour tarot and astrology reading with me. All right, so that being said, let's get right into it. Magic is not what you see in the movies, and it's not what you might think it is if you read a lot. Magic is simply the ability to generate your own luck. It is the ability to use the butterfly effect to your advantage to create the outcomes that you want in your life. And magic is based on a few very, very simple ideas that everyone intuitively knows are true. Number one, your thoughts, your feelings have an effect on physical reality. When you are feeling something very intense, when you are very, very focused on something, when you believe in yourself, when you are determined to accomplish something, you are far more likely to accomplish it than if you're not. There is no such thing as coincidence. What there is synchronicity. Coincidence does not exist. Coincidence is a word that we use to just push aside these extraordinary events that have happened all throughout our lives and say, like, oh, that doesn't have any meaning to it. That's not real. But it is. And you're gaslighting yourself by doing this, right? By denying the reality that your thoughts and your feelings have a real effect in the world, you are simply gaslighting yourself, and it will cause cognitive dissonance, and that will eventually lead to more mental health problems. And we are living in a time of mental health crisis. The second idea that magic is based on is that there is another side of reality, which we can call the spirit realm, or you can call it the quantum realm, or you can call it the fourth dimension, or you can call it the fifth dimension. It does not matter. These are all correct because we don't have an exact scientific word yet to describe it, but we're getting really close. And it's very, very interesting because we're living in a time, like I said, we're living in a very strange slice of time when people don't intuitively know these things to be true, but we're also living in a slice of time when science is coming full circle and starting to study consciousness in a way that is going to reveal that science and spirituality have far more in common than they ever wanted to admit before. We know there's an unseen, hidden aspect of reality that has an effect on what happens here. They call it quantum physics, or you can call it spirituality. It's all the same thing. One is a very left-brained way of looking at it, and another is a very intuitive right-brained way of looking at it. In that realm, there are life forms, or what I call non-physical organized consciousness, or you could call it spirits and ghosts, or you could say dark matter life forms. It really doesn't matter which language you use. These are things we've known about since the dawn of time, and these are things that mainstream physicists are now speculating about. Chaos Witchcraft. What is Chaos Witchcraft, right? So that's what magic is. What is Chaos Witchcraft? Well, Chaos Witchcraft is something that was born out of Chaos Magick, which is the system of magic that was put forth by Peter J. Carroll, in which he posits that belief is a tool, and that what you believe is what you will experience. And again, this is something everyone has experienced throughout their entire lives. This is why everyone thinks that they're always right. Everybody is convinced that they're always right about everything, because what you focus on, what you believe, is what you experience. That's how it works. Simple as that. The problem is that the vast majority of people are walking around the world today with beliefs, thoughts, and emotions that are detrimental to their own well-being. Thoughts and beliefs like, I'm not good enough, the world is an awful place, bad things are happening to me all the time, oh my God, how am I going to make it? How am I going to pay my rent this month? Right? Constant anxiety and fear, and this is by design, and everyone knows it. If you've ever turned on the news, you know it's there just to make sure that you are living in a state of fear and panic as often as possible. We want to counteract that. And it's not by not paying attention, it's by shifting your perspective. It's by understanding that your reality it's not a physical experience that you're having. Reality is a mental experience that you're having. And this is just a fact of neuroscience. There is no physical reality. This pen that I'm holding is made out of atoms. Those atoms are made out of 99.9% empty space, and those atoms are spaced farther apart than the mass of the atom. I am holding empty space, condensed empty space. My brain turns it into a physical object that I can feel. It turns pressurized airwaves into sound, right? It turns light in particular wavelengths into colors that we could see, but different animals see different colors than we do. It's not objective, it is subjective. Reality is very largely subjective, and when you get your mind wrapped around this and you realize that reality is a mental experience, and that if you change your mind, you change your reality, and that this is something you can do intentionally, this is something you can do with practice, and you can get very good at it, and that it works incredibly well, your world will never be the same. So, The idea here is that our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs have effects on physical reality, so we then must have a system for working with our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that is conducive to what we want to occur. Aleister Crowley, probably the most famous occultist who ever lived, said that magic is the art and science of causing change to occur in accordance with will. That is correct, but I really don't like it. I'm going to tell you why. Because if it is my will to get up right now and walk out of this seminar and just go hang out with my kid instead, I can do that, right? I've caused change to occur in accordance with my will. If I want to, go drive down the street, I can do that. But nothing really magical has happened, okay? There is utility in that definition, in that it's true that all of magic is reality and all of reality is magic, but let's form a definition that actually separates what we experience every day, the mundane world, and this new world, the magical world. So my definition of magic is the art and science of causing change to occur in accordance with will by occult or unseen means, right? By means that are not standard. So digging a hole is not magic, right? Casting a spell and seeing those results come back to you when you had no real physical interaction, that's magic, right? Just for our working definition. We could wax and wane philosophically about this for eons, but let's not do that. It doesn't matter which definition you prefer. Just that these are ways to think about magic so that you understand that this is a very real phenomenon and that this is something you can work with. In fact, it's so real, it's as in your face as gravity. To anyone who's ever practiced tarot or looked into astrology or even just set an intention and you did so with sincerity and authenticity instead of doubt and this probably won't work and thoughts like that, then you already know that this works. The number one thing that stops people from understanding that magic is real is that they go to try it, and in their mind they're going, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, this is a bunch of nonsense, I feel silly. And okay, if the premise of magic is that your thoughts and your emotions have a real effect on physical reality, then that's the effect they're going to have. It's not going to work because you don't believe it works. That's why belief as a tool is so crucial to what we do here, to understand that your beliefs are a tool which you can use just like you use a hammer or a drill or a saw. You need to be able to shape your beliefs and use them wisely. Your beliefs are not simply something that happened to you. You can edit and choose your own beliefs, right? This is all very counterintuitive, but let me give you an example of how counterintuitive things can be, because we all know that our emotions and our thoughts sometimes get things very, very wrong. So for example, this is the example I love to give. You're in the woods and you come across a grizzly bear. Every instinct in your body is going to tell you to run. If you run, you are going to die. 100% guaranteed. That bear is faster than you. You cannot outrun a bear. The counterintuitive thing to do, the thing that you would not think to do unless someone told you in advance and you really thought this through and practiced it and utilized it, is to make yourself look big and yell and try to scare the bear away. That is your best chance at survival. But if you didn't know that, you're not going to do it. You're going to run and you're going to be bear food. Okay? So our gut instincts are not always correct. We need to take conscious control of our emotions, of our thoughts, of our belief systems, and use them to our advantage. That's all magic is, because it has real effects. When you can take control of your inner landscape, your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs, those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs then radiate out into the world and have real effects that change the way you interact with, perceive, and deal with reality. And also, and this is the great part, sometimes, not infrequently, things will just happen that can only be described as magic. So here's another example of that. Several years ago, when my son was, he's 9 now, and so he was probably 3 or 4, and I'm a single father, and I had been sleeping on the same mattress for the last decade, and my son, by the time he's 4, has probably peed on it, I don't know, 100 times, and it was gross, and it was just, I just desperately needed a new mattress, but I couldn't afford one. And so I used magic. I asked the universe, please, somehow, I need a new mattress, get me a new mattress, okay? A few months later, my mom came to visit. And this is right when COVID happened, so she couldn't go home. I live in Canada, my mom was in the States. So she comes here to visit, And while she's visiting, COVID happens. And she's like, well, I can't go home. I guess I'm going to stay. So she buys herself a mattress and gets herself set up in my guest room. Okay. When she bought that mattress, for whatever reason, Costco delivered 2 mattresses. They delivered one mattress that was the one she ordered, which is a twin size, and they also delivered their top-of-the-line, king-size, memory foam gel-top mattress. It was a mistake. So what did I do? I called Costco and said, hey, you guys left an extra mattress here. Please come pick it up. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. You could drop it off. And I said, I don't have a car. And they said, I don't know what to tell you. And I've been sleeping on that mattress ever since. Little things like that will just happen. And what will you see? Your brain will go, oh, what a coincidence. Horse shit is not a coincidence. When you ask the universe for something and then it gets delivered, literally delivered to your doorstep a little while later, if you tell yourself that that is a coincidence, you are gaslighting yourself so damn hard, and you got to stop doing it because it's only going to tear down your reality. Okay, so this stuff works. It works incredibly well. Here's another story. When my son's mother and I separated, and I had to get a lawyer to fight for my rights as a parent, I needed $10,000, 10 grand, just to get the lawyer to look at my case. That's how it costs just to get in the door. I had $0 at the time. I used magic. I asked the universe, I said, I need this, and I need it right now. 2 days later, 2 days, that's 48 hours later, my uncle decided for whatever reason that he wanted to give out his inheritance to his nephews and nieces while he was still alive so that he could see them spend it. And it happened to be $10,000. It was exactly the amount of money that I needed to fight for my rights as a parent. It was, I'm going to go ahead and use the word miracle, but the difference between miracles and magic is it's just language. That's it. It's just language, right? There's some other technicalities you could get into in terms of what's the difference between prayer, magic, and miracles, but essentially they're all part of the same phenomenon, okay? So, Chaos Witchcraft is very much like Eclectic magic. It is very much like most magical traditions, but we have a strong emphasis on belief as a tool. And here's why. Because I've been studying magic since I was 15 years old. I've studied many, many, many systems of magic, and guess what? They all work. They all work. Well, if there's one correct system of magic or one correct religion, for example, why is it that they all work? Because they're all just different languages for communicating with that other side of reality, or with magic itself, whatever you want to call it. They're just different languages, and you can be multilingual. Okay? That's why I say I'm not here to tell you what to believe. What we do at the Order of Chaos is we study the underlying mechanics that make magic happen. We are not a religion. Again, not a cult, not a coven. Not here to tell you which gods to worship or who to work with or any of that. You can practice completely atheistic magic. You can explain all of this from the consciousness point of view, or you can work with spirits. It does not matter. These are all just different ways of explaining phenomenon that happen that we can't see and don't have a particular scientific language for yet. And yet, we can be using these things today to improve our lives. We do not need to wait 100 years for some scientist to prove this beyond any shadow of doubt and then name it after himself. We don't need that, okay? We can start doing it right now. It's fine. People have been doing it since the dawn of time. We can continue to do it. Another thing that I love about this particular system of magic is that it is like MMA, okay? It's like mixed martial arts. And how is it like mixed martial arts? Here's how. Mixed martial arts takes what works and gets rid of what doesn't. You put any average MMA fighter up against a kung, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to kung fu, but a kung fu guy is going to get his ass whooped by an MMA fighter, and this has happened over and over and over and over and over again. Why? Because MMA disregards what doesn't work. If it doesn't work, we get rid of it. If it works, we not only use it, we do our best to improve upon it. And that's what we do here with magic. Okay, we're not here to study one tradition or one system or demand that it has to be a certain way. We're here to grow and learn and to advance the occult sciences by being as inclusive as possible. And when something doesn't work, we're going to say, okay, that doesn't work. We're not going to do it anymore. We're going to focus on what does work. We are a results-oriented system of magic. Now, there are three working theories within the realm of theoretical physics theoretical physics that make magic possible, and I want to briefly discuss those because it's an important part of what makes this whole system work, and that is panpsychism, the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, and string theory. Basically, these are the same things I was just talking about. We're just using different words here, okay? So the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics says that all realities, all possibilities that could exist, do exist. They exist simultaneously, and that your consciousness is shifting through these nearly infinite parallel timelines. So I do have a visual for this. I'm going to put it on the screen, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here it is. This chart is a very, very important part of the curriculum here at TOC. So this is a very, very, very overly simplified visual representation of the many worlds interpretation. And you look at each of these lines on this chart here as different frequencies. And down here, I've corresponded them to the colors of the chakras, just for visual sake. Here's you. You have this line here, right? And here's baseline ordinary reality where most people are existing in the world today. This is not the worst possible outcome for your life. It's the most deterministic possible outcome for your life. This is what happens to most people. You just go through life, go through the motions, and you run right into what I call fate. Now, these words are interchangeable in different cultures, so don't put too much stock in that. It's just the word that I prefer. When we use magic, what we do is we intentionally create bridges between these higher and higher timelines, higher and higher frequencies, to get to what I would call destiny, which is the highest possible vibrational reality, the best possible outcome for your life. If you sit on your butt and you do what you're supposed to do and you go about life the way you think you're supposed to do it, you're going to run hard right into fate. Maybe it won't be that bad. Maybe it'll be okay, but it's not the best possible outcome for your life. The best possible outcome from your life comes from using consciousness in a way to give yourself leverage, give yourself an advantage, and to create these bridges and get yourself from down here to up here. Okay, that is what we do. That is what we teach. That's what magic is. That is what we're focused on here. How to make your life better every day. Okay. So, again, quickly, these scientific terms, I just want to share them with you so that you have an understanding that what we're doing here is not just something that's silly and made up. It's something I've put 25 years of my life into forming into a system that actually makes sense and is viable via what we understand about theoretical physics right now. So that was the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. So now let's talk about panpsychism. Panpsychism is just a fancy new word for animism. And animism is one of the oldest shamanistic human beliefs that there is. It is the belief that everything is alive and that everything is conscious, that every blade of grass, every rock, every atom, every planet is aware to some degree. Not aware to the degree that humans are, but aware nonetheless, right? It is unbelievable to me that there are people in this world so arrogant that they would use the intelligence that nature gave them to make the argument that nature is not intelligent. It's silly. You are nature. You are intelligence. Nature is intelligent. You can prove it just by existing. Nature is highly intelligent, and the earth is a living system. One of the worst things that we're doing in the world today is that human beings see themselves as being very separate of that system, and that's why we're destroying the planet. That's why, because we don't see ourselves as a part of it. We are absolutely a part of it. And every culture knew this, again, up until this one, up until right now. Every society, every culture on Earth just knew this because it's in your face, obvious. In order to not see this, again, you have to gaslight yourself to unbelievable degrees. So we've got the many worlds interpretation, we've got panpsychism. All things that can be possible are possible, and the universe is alive. And then finally, we have string theory. And string theory tells us that there are 11 dimensions of time and space, and that we live in the third dimension. There's dimensions above us and dimensions below us. And this is known throughout every religion that's ever existed, that there are higher planes of existence and lower planes of existence. Again, everybody knows this. Everybody intuitively is born with this information, and we have to gaslight ourselves to forget it. Or we have to turn against whoever taught it to us, which is fair if you were raised as like an evangelical Christian. no wonder you would want to reject this stuff, because it's not this dogmatic heaven and hell situation. It's just physics. There are spirits. They exist in a higher plane, and there are what we'll call low vibrational entities that exist in a lower plane. All right? And there are 11 dimensions, not just above and below. There are many all the way up, which is very, very interesting. So, like I said, it's not enough just to know this stuff or to understand it. You have to start doing it. This is what we're all about here. So one of the things that we do at the Order of Chaos is that if you're a student here, it's not just some passive course where you can watch a video while you're scrolling through your phone and then act like you passed the course. If you're looking through our pre-recorded library, you're going to find that there's a test after every single video. It's not a super hard test. It's just a quiz to make sure you were paying attention. Okay? Because I want you to get your money's worth. I want you to get results from this. There's homework. We give you homework. It's not going to take you 6 hours. It's not going to be some ritual that you have to go out and buy a bunch of expensive shit for. You don't need to fly to Egypt or any of that. But we are going to make sure that you're actually learning and that you're actually doing magic. This is the great thing about the platform that we're on, that it allows me to give people quizzes. It allows me to create homework assignments. And when you're involved in our live classes, you either raise your hand or I'm going to raise it for you. That's how it works here. You are going to participate. You don't get to just come and sit and listen and watch. That's not what we do. If that's what you want to do, you could just read books, right? But I'm telling you, you're not going to get nearly the benefit from just reading as you would from doing. Doing is what it's all about. So let's do some magic. Hopefully everyone has access to pen and the paper. If not, go grab some. Grab pen, grab paper. I'll give everyone a minute, and then we'll get into this. So what we're going to be doing is creating a sigil. Sigil magic is incredibly important at the Order of Chaos. There are many kinds of magic you can do. You can do candle magic. You can do jar spells. You can use words. Words are very powerful magic. In fact, if you've ever heard the saying, every thought is a prayer, every word is a spell, that is deadly accurate. There's planetary magic. There's infinite kinds of magic, but sigil magic is so effective and so simple. I can teach you to do it right now, and you're going to get results from it. And you don't need to know anything. This can be the first time you've ever heard any of this information. So sigil magic is creating a symbol, and that symbol is charged with intent and with a desired outcome. What we're doing at the scientific level is we're taking a statement of intent, okay? So you're going to think of something that you really want in your life, something that you really want to, an outcome that you want, and you're going to turn this into a statement of intent. And I'm going to tell you, if you have a hard time coming up with one right now, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you one. The most powerful spell I ever cast in my entire life, the one that changed my life forever, was a sigil based on the following phrase: I am always in the right place at the right time. So write that down. Or you can write down your own statement of intent. Doesn't matter, right? Whatever you prefer. It can be something very specific that you're thinking about right now. If you can't think of anything, go ahead and do the one that I did. I am always in the right place at the right time. Now what we're going to do is take that statement, which exists in language, and language is a function of your left brain hemisphere, and we're going to turn that into a symbol. We're going to turn it into symbolism, and the right brain hemisphere, again, this is a massive oversimplification, but I'm going to say the right brain hemisphere essentially is the subconscious, left is the conscious. Massive oversimplification, but for our purposes, it's accurate. And what we're doing is taking that statement of intent and taking it from the left brain hemisphere, the conscious mind, and programming it into the subconscious mind, just like a computer program. And then that subconscious mind is going to run the program and is going to generate the results. Okay. There are some constraints on this. For example, if you write down, I want a Ferrari to be in my garage right now at the end of this lecture, it's not going to fucking happen. Okay. And if you do that, and then you're like, oh, see, magic isn't real. Come on. Like you're looking for an excuse for it to not be real. It has to be something that can actually happen inside of physical reality. But as long as it can happen inside of physical reality and it's not, probability isn't like 1 in millions, you know? I used to tell people all the time, I used to say, don't try to win the lottery of magic. The odds are stacked against you so deeply against that it's just a waste of your time. And then one of my students won the lottery using magic, so I don't say that anymore. But probability is a factor, okay? Don't ask for something impossible. Ask for something improbable. Ask for something that would truly generate a real interest in you to see that this works, but don't make it something so outlandish that it can't come through for you, okay? So again, think of your own statement, or you can use the one I gave you, and then what you're going to do next is you're going to take your pen and you're going to cross out each of the vowels and each of the repeating letters. Now, I know this isn't exactly the same as Pete Carroll's method. He didn't cross out the vowels. I do, because I'm lazy, and it still works. If you don't want to cross out the vowels, leave them in. It's entirely up to you. But what we're going to end up with is something that looks a lot like this. You've got your statement. You're going to cross out the letters that are repeating. You're going to cross out the vowels. And what you're doing is reducing that statement down to its essence. Just the consonants that are left and only one of each. And then you're going to take those consonants and without any regard, any whatsoever, not at this stage, to how the finished product looks, you're just going to mash them all together and make some kind of symbol. Listen to me. It's very important. It doesn't matter how it looks. This does not have to be a work of art. Literally just smush the letters together and create some kind of symbol. Okay? As long as you do that and you're doing it and you're following this process, the aesthetic value of it just simply does not matter. So you've got your statement, you cross out the vowels, you cross out the repeating letters, you have the consonants that are left, and you just go ahead and squish them together. So for example, you can see here, there's the G I've got, there's the M, there's a W, the C I flipped on its side so it's upside down here, there's the N, there's the H, there's the R, there's the P, and there is the S. So I have all of these letters just smushed together. And I did start with like a big cross. You can do that. You can start with like a line that connects them all. This is so up to you. I've seen people on their first try make something so beautiful that I could never like touch that level of artistry. And I've seen sigils that just basically look like a bunch of squiggly lines together and they work equally well. Okay, so it just does not matter. Just follow through with the process. Reduce the statement to its essence. Squish the letters together. Okay. So I'm going to give everyone another minute to complete that. Also, if you just are really stuck with this, you can straight up just copy mine. Copy the one you see on the screen there. That's totally fine. Also, don't overthink this. Okay. So while you guys are working on your sigil, I want to tell you a little bit about what's upcoming and new at the Order of Chaos. This week, we have several new classes starting, and if you sign up with us today, you can take all of these classes. We're doing, we have a class called Living Witchcraft, which is the fundamentals of a witchcraft practice. All of our courses are approximately 6 weeks long, one class per week that's between 60 and 90 minutes. And we're going to go through the fundamentals of building a witchcraft practice from scratch, everything you need to know to make this a part of your life. We also have a class on all the science aspects of magic. This class is called Quantum Chaos. It's also starting this Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have a class starting called The Death Current, and this is a class on necromancy, on mediumship, and death magic. And it's also a class on death and dying and our views of death and dying in the Western world and how we can have a better relationship with death. We're going to be working with psychopomps, explaining what they are, and going through the process of building a more positive relationship with death and also how to use it as a magical ally. After those classes are done, we're going to switch up the times. So if you couldn't take it because let's say it was in the morning, we're going to move it to the evening so that you have a chance to take the course live. However, if you can't take any class live, don't worry about it. They all get uploaded to the Occult University, and you can follow along at your own pace. I know everyone is busy. People have kids. They have jobs. Every 6 weeks, we go through a few courses, and then we start up some new ones. So you can constantly be learning. We are constantly doing everything we can to bring in amazing guest speakers, to have courses that are interesting. As a member, you have a say in what courses come next. You can just straight up DM me and say, I'd really like to take a course on sacred geometry. And I'll say, okay, cool. That's a really good idea. We should start a course on sacred geometry. All of these little things, right? You get a amazing, absolutely, truly wonderful, amazing community to be a part of. We have over 100 members that are always talking about magic. And inside our community, we'll also have what's called a link sigil thread. And this is a place where you can go and ask your fellow community members for help with the spell. You can ask for help not only in how to do the spell, but you can ask them to join in with you. And we've had such amazing success with this in the past. We've had clients who were able to overcome difficult situations, personal situations, financial situations, and actually, this is great. This just happened today. This is so amazing. So, my advanced group, this past Thursday, we performed a ritual to unhex the Las Vegas Raiders, and today they won 20-10. Magic is incredibly powerful when you allow it to be. So you not only have an opportunity to learn all about magic and to do magic, you also gain a group of people who are enthusiastic about doing magic with you. It's truly the best thing about what we do here. Even though we do a lot of things, I think the community is by far the best aspect of it. It's absolutely amazing. And like I said, it does not matter if you are a Christian witch or if you are a Levian Satanist, if you are a Wiccan, if you are Norse pagan, you are welcome here. We want everyone to learn from each other. That is the vision that I have for the Order of Chaos, is that we never become any kind of religious organization or cult or a coven. None of that. We are a school. We are not some secret order. I am not a guru. I do not claim to have the one secret truth, and you just need to pay me $10,000 for it. We're not doing that, and whenever you run into that, it is a scam. We are all learning together. The curriculum that we are currently offering is based largely on my book, which is not out yet, but it'll be published on Wiser next year. I recently handed in the manuscript. I'm very, very proud of it. And we're working with the concepts that are in that book, but we will be expanding outward continually forever, constantly adding in new courses on new topics, and like I said, really trying to advance the occult sciences. Okay, so I think everyone's had enough time now to scribble together a little sigil. I'm going to give 30 more seconds, and then we'll just move on to the next part of this, and I'll show you exactly what to do next. So what you do next with this sigil, by the way, is really up to you. There's a lot of different schools of thought on what you could do. The creation of the sigil is the most important part, and there is some contention about that in certain occult circles, but I'm not worried about that. I've been doing this since I was 14 years old, and I've had a tremendous amount of success. Like I said, I've actually been able to manifest every single thing I've ever wanted into my life, and I simply want the same for others. So once you have your sigil, go ahead and tear it out of whatever piece of paper you had it on, like this. Right? So you've got a torn out piece of paper with a funny little symbol on it. You should be feeling very witchy right now at this moment. Now, what you do next, there's a number of things you could do, okay? You could bury this under a full moon. You could bury it under a new moon. You could burn it on an altar. You can put it on an altar in a sacred place. You can put this on your refrigerator with a magnet so that you look at it every time you're headed out the door. You could tattoo it on your arm. It doesn't really matter, but what matters is that you do something with it that feels correct to you. Because everyone has their own personal brand of magic. Everyone intuitively knows what is most symbolically potent for them. I've done this a number of ways. So I have some of these on my altar, but my favorite thing to do with these is to burn them over a candle. And if you're going to do this, please make sure that you have a fire-safe dish like this, right? Don't burn a sigil in your home and then be standing there holding a burning sigil going, oh shit, what do I do with it now? Don't do that. Please, I'm begging you, don't do that. I don't want to be responsible for anyone burning their house down. Now, if you really want to take this to the next level, another thing that you can get right now at theorderofchaosmagick.com is an at-home DIY guided ritual called the Dark Matter Sigil Operation. That is a guided meditation that guides you through the entire process of creating your sigil and then burning it. It tells you what tools you need and all of that good stuff. And it does so with binaural beats, which are a way of altering your state of consciousness. That's a whole other topic that we cover extensively inside of the school. We also have guided rituals for coming into contact with Hecate, and we'll be adding more guided rituals throughout the year. We also do these inside of the school as a group. And every month on the full moon, we have a full moon group ritual that we all get together and do with an intent that is specific to that moon and its astrological sign. So once you have this, once you have your sigil, guys, it's up to you to decide what to do with it next. Okay. I did see, now I know I said I was going to wait for questions, but I saw one pop up, somebody saying, oh my God, I know I really want to do it, but I don't have black candles. Guess what? Neither do I. I have white candles. I had black candles. And I know the ritual says use 2 black candles. I bought a box of black candles and they disappeared. If they're not black, it's okay. If they're green, if they're red, even if they're tea lights, it's fine, guys. It's okay. Don't stress out about that, okay? I like black candles, and I'll tell you why I like black candles, because they're all purpose, right? Black is a great color for everything, but so is white. And don't think that this is like some crucial step. What's crucial is your intent, your will, your drive, your desire, right? Desire is a crucial ingredient to magic. Again, there's so much more to this than I can cover in this 1 hour lecture. That's why we have hundreds of videos inside of the Occult University. But if you follow the instructions and you make your sigil and then you decide to do with it, again, this could be burning it, this could be burying it, this could be eating it, this could be doing anything with it. Do the thing that feels correct to you and you will get results. And now is the time for questions.